Hey everybody, Josh here. Welcome back to my channel. And today's video is going to be about networking in terms of networking with humans in order to increase your ability to find jobs. I'm going to talk about this comment left by a viewer on how to get a job in cybersecurity with zero experience. I'm also going to kind of talk about how I personally feel about networking and how I viewed it in the past and kind of how I use it and view it today. After that, I'm going to give some tips on how you might approach other people and like try to network with people you don't know, like maybe on LinkedIn. And then finally, I'm going to talk about how I like to be approached when people like kind of email me out of the blue. Like I'll talk about some of the things that I like to see personally. So if you're excited to talk about networking, go ahead and smash the like button 5 times and let's get started. So this comment here I got from a viewer on the how to get into cybersecurity with zero experience video. Basically, he said, as a person that broke into this field with zero experience, I would definitely put networking higher on the list. You can kind of see this list I included in the video. I put networking like toward the bottom, like number 7. I'll kind of talk about why I did that later, but he says like after weeks of frustration, I reached out to one of the hiring managers that I met and asked for some advice. Then he then offered me a junior information assurance position, and that's how I got my foot in the door. So pretty much, if you want to read his comment, I pretty much agree with this comment like 100%. Networking is like really important in terms of employability and like job hunting and stuff like this. I kind of look at it as like, if you look at this checklist, steps 1 through 6, I kind of consider that your like personal portfolio and things that you can personally do. And then step 7, networking, I kind of consider networking like a force amplifier for those things. So like the better your steps 1 through 6 are implemented, the more helpful networking is going to be for you. And likewise, if you have like steps 1 through 6 is like really weak, like maybe you don't even have anything, like the only thing you have is security plus, and you have like a massive network, you're like the master of networking, that might be all you need, right, to get a job, because you just know everybody and someone can just hire you, and then you can take advantage of that, the leverage from your networking, you can just get a job. So I kind of look at it as like 2 separate things. Step 1 through 6, your personal like development skill portfolio, and step 7 is networking, and kind of the product of those things equals your employability and how like easy or difficult it is for you to get a job. And so for me personally, I tend to not really talk about networking that much because I don't really like to do it. And this is kind of where it gets into like my opinion. So don't like take what I'm saying as some kind of fact or anything you should live by, because I used to be like really introverted. I'm still like pretty introverted now, but I used to be like really introverted and like really averse to like going out and networking at events and like conferences and just like reaching out to people I didn't know for the sake of, you know, building my own network. I didn't like that at all. And I would get like really discouraged when I would look up, you know, like how to get into security. And then it's people would be like, blah, blah, blah. It's like, who you know? I really didn't like that. So what I try to like formulate stuff on my channel, not really involving networking very much. It's important. You should acknowledge that it's important and you should do it. But I tend to not like talk about it very much because for me, I tend to focus on like personal development and skill and like portfolio and those kind of things. That's for me. And because I would get so discouraged when people tell me to network, I tend to like not tell other people to network, even though I know it's like really important and you should do it. But that's just naturally, I tend to like not tell people to do it for some reason. You should do it, but I just don't talk about it very much. So that's probably why. Because for sure, you know, if you have an average portfolio and you have an average network, it's going to work out well for you in your favor. Like, I'm not going to talk about like a bunch of different ways you can network in this video. I'll check out this video. To be honest, they talk about some ways in the end, but that's just kind of my take on networking. So getting into how I would personally reach out to people who I don't know for the sake of networking or just trying to learn something or get like, you know, an ounce of mentorship from. This is an example of a message I sent somebody from Microsoft who is a security software engineer. I was like really interested in that position. I still am. I'm just doing YouTube right now, so I haven't pursued it that much. So usually I'll try to ask like really specific questions and then give them like a brief introduction of myself just to give them some context. And if the question is like not really specific and I want to ask something a little bit more open-ended like I did here, I'll try to word it in a way that's like really light and doesn't require them to think too much. So for example, in this case, I just said like, I was wondering if you had any quick tips off the top of your head that I could use to polish myself. This is like relatively open-ended, but it kind of implies that I don't want them to like dig too deep for an answer. Just whatever comes to your mind when you read this, I'd be interested in hearing about it. So I just asked like really simple questions, gave them an intro about myself and said thank you. And then the person actually responded to me with like a really useful, thoughtful response. I won't show it because like I feel kind of weird about showing DMs to like everybody, but basically after I read the response, I just said thank you because like for me, like when somebody gives me something for nothing, the least I could do is try to like make them feel good about it, like make them feel like they've done something useful for somebody, because that's generally a good feeling. So I'll like thank them, genuinely thank them for like what they said, and then let them know I'll do my best to implement it, or at least I'll, you know, carry it with me and consider it in the future. Because the thing that I don't like in real life is like when I mentor somebody or offer them something that I think is like really useful, but they don't implement it, or they don't like care that I took time to like tell them it. Like, I don't really like that. So I try to like make sure the person at least feels good about helping me. And if I implement what they told me and like I got something good out of it, I'll like let them know. I'll like let them know later and like thank them again later for it. So that's just what I would do. Just like keep it, you know, as simple as possible. Keep your question like succinct and targeted, and don't let them like feel overwhelmed with your request. Otherwise they just like won't respond, which I am guilty of doing that sometimes. I'll kind of get into that a little bit later, but just keep it simple and then make them feel good about helping you, and then follow up later if what they said was like useful and you got something out of it. They're definitely gonna feel good about it, and they'll definitely remember you, and then at least you have like somewhat more of a network than is if you didn't even like contact them at all. And then kind of getting into how I like to be approached by different people. For me, it's kind of weird. I'll talk about a few things here. So for me personally, because of YouTube, I have like too many DMs and like too many email, to be honest. Like between Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, email, right, all of those 4 things like outside of YouTube, as well as like my Discord and the YouTube comments, it's just like too many places for me to respond. It's like impossible. I try to respond to all of them, but I just can't. Like the last couple of weeks or something, if you emailed me or like DM'd me, I'm so sorry. I probably didn't respond just because there's like too many, and it's not possible to do all and put out content at the same time. So for me personally, this is kind of the hierarchy in the order in which I respond to things. So number 1, I respond to Discord first. I have a Discord server and I chat in there regularly. I respond there first because the people in the Discord server are patrons. So I prioritize Discord over everything. And then after Discord, I tend to respond to all comments. So if someone leaves like a new comment on any video, it doesn't really matter if the comment is related to the topic of the video. I'm 100% going to read it and respond to it. So I respond to Discord first and then comments. And then if for some reason I have time and energy, I start responding to email and Instagram DMs. But lately I just cannot get to it. I'm like totally like maxed out on like responding to people for comments in Discord. So I'd recommend for now, like just try to leave comments. If you want to like talk to me or like network with me or something, try to like leave comments on YouTube. I'm even like kind of too busy to sell like one-on-one mentoring. I did that like a few times. I've mentored probably like 7 or 8 people, but it's just like too much time. I don't have enough time to do like content as well. So just try to leave comments. Assuming you go out of your way and like try to like send me an email or something. Again, like what I like to see is like a really succinct question, like questions like really specific to you, and don't like try not to like write too much. I appreciate people who like write a lot to me, and I want to read it, but there's so many. I feel so bad. I just cannot get to like every single one of them. So try to like send something like really succinct and like really specific to you, that I can answer like relatively easily, and I'll do my best to answer it. But your best bet is to just like leave a comment, and then you can just keep making new comments. It doesn't really matter what video it's on. Just try to ask like a nice succinct question. If it's not succinct and it's general, that's okay too, because I still respond to all the comments. But if you want to get the most out of it for you personally, try to make your question like, you know, as targeted as you can, so I can answer, so you can kind of get the most out of my answer. I don't know if that helps, but that's just kind of like an insight into me on like how I respond to stuff and like how I prioritize my responses to people. Like email and DMs is like quite bad right now because there's just too many. But yeah, I hope that helps. I still like 100% respond to like all YouTube comments. It's getting kind of hard, but as long as I stay on top of it, it's not so bad. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had for this networking video. But if you have any advice or comments or anything you think other viewers might benefit from, absolutely leave a comment in the comment section. I'll definitely read it, definitely respond to it. Other people will see it too, and they'll probably, you know, be able to get some usefulness out of it. Again, I do have a Patreon if you feel like supporting me. But yeah, other than that, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching this far, and we will see you in the next video. Bye bye.